So to access Gmail, the first thing that you're going to do is go to your profile. And once you're there, in the top right, you'll see the word Gmail. Click that. But there's also another way to access it, which is to click on the waffle, and then you can click on Gmail from here. Once you're in, you'll see a few things. So you'll see this left-hand side, but if you do not see this menu, locate these 3 horizontal bars at the top left, and that is how you can minus it and then bring it back. Now, these arrows right here are to collapse it, so you'll see when it's pointing down, it has everything listed out, but if I wanted to collapse it, that would just make it a little bit neater and easier to look at. Now, some other things to point out. This right here is the compose button, so I'm sure you're all familiar with this. So this is how you begin a new email. So there are a lot of buttons within the compose an email screen. So I'm going to explain a few of the basic ones. Starting with the top. So this X right here is going to save and close your email as a draft. Right here, you can expand it into full screen. This is generally the easiest way for me to write an email unless it's a quick one. And then you can minimize it and then click on it again down at the bottom and bring it back up. For now, I'm going to click on these arrows to make it full screen. So once you're on the full screen menu, you'll see, of course, who you're writing your email to and the subject line. But let's say that you want to email someone and you want someone else to just be informed of what was in the email, but it's not necessarily directly to that other person. So you can CC someone, so that means that they'll see the email, but know that it is not necessarily directed towards them. You'll also see this BCC. So CC stands for carbon copy. BCC stands for blind carbon copy. So when you BCC someone, it means that you're copying them on it, but the recipient, so whoever you're sending it to up here, will not know that person 2 down here has seen this email. So to make that a little clearer, you'll see I'm going to type in person 1 in the 2. So this is going to be the main recipient. Under CC, I'm going to put person 2. Now this person 1 and person 2 will know that the same email was sent to each other. But person 3 down here will receive this email, but person 1 and person 2 will not know that person 3 received this email. So from here, you'll see a lot of buttons down on the bottom. So this arrow right here is of course going to be your undo. So say that you typed something and you didn't want to do that, you can undo one of those letters. You can redo it so that they come back. And you can also change the font. To change the font, you are going to click on the font, left click, and then hold over it. And then come down here and you can change it to wide. You can change the size to normal, large, or huge. You can bold it. You can italicize it, underline it, and then change the color. Now, let's say that you wanted all of your text to be in the center for whatever reason. You can also go ahead and click these buttons. So that's going to center it. And then these are going to make it go over to the right side. Generally, this is the best one to choose, aligning it on the left. Now, let's say that you want to send some bullet points. Well, if you want to add a numbered list, you can do that here. This is going to auto-generate. So we'll put dog here and then cat. You'll see number 1 and number 2. But let's say that you don't want a numbered list, you just want a bulleted list, you can do that here. So to change, so you'll see when I clicked that, it only changed cat, it didn't change dog. So in order to change all of your list to a bulleted, you're going to again left click and hold over the text, and then you can click bulleted list. Here is some indenting. Don't worry about this too much. This is not a very commonly used button. And then you can do quotes here as well. Of course, you can always just do quotation marks. Now, one good thing to note also with bulleted lists is when you'll see that my mouse is here. It's blinking this line, and I'm going to click enter. That will start a new bullet point, but say I just want to go back to a normal paragraph, you're going to click enter once more, and it will go back to normal text. Now let's say that you want to put a strike through. So if you are editing a document, this is a great tool to use so that other people can see the changes that you have made. You can click this S with a line through it and it will become striked. And then you can remove any formatting here. So when I click that, you'll see it goes back to normal text. It's no longer purple or huge. And finally, you'll see a couple of buttons down at the bottom of the screen. So the one that you'll see in big blue is send. There's also a drop down menu right here. This is a really great trick to know. If you click this, you can schedule a time to send this. So I have to identify a recipient first, but this is a great way to schedule something to go out at a later time or date. These two buttons you probably will not have. This is an add-on, so an extension that I have put in just so that I can embed YouTube videos for you all and some of those Bitmojis. You'll see the formatting options are available here as well, so that will just make that top bar disappear. Click it again and it will come back. And you'll see here, we'll talk about this more when we talk about Google Drive, but this is one way that you can include files. So you'll click here and then access whatever files you need and then click open and it will attach itself to the email. The next one is to insert a link. So let's say that I wanted to send someone a link to the lwvky.org website. Well, as it is right now, this person is going to have to copy it and then paste it into their address bar, but there's an easier way to do that. So you're going to left click and highlight whatever you want to link, click insert link, and a lot of the times it will do it for you. Sometimes you'll have to manually just copy and paste the link, but you'll see that that one did it automatically. And now when I just left click on that, I'll have the option to go to the link to change it. So you'll see here, this is what you would get if it didn't automatically do it. You'll just, where it says to what URL should this link go to, type in the website. And then up here is where you can change the text. So it doesn't have to be the same address as the URL, but you can rather change it to league website, and then it will say that, but it will still go to this website. If you want to remove it, you can click right here. And then down here, we will look at these emojis. So these can be fun to add into an email. If you want a smiley face or some other different options, those are available here. Again, this you'll see that the drive icon is right here. We won't talk about that too much right now. I don't want to confuse you, but this is a really simple way to send different Google Drives, folders, documents, whatever it might be, via email. The next one is to insert a photo. It's very similar to the attach a file. It's just going to bring you to your photos that you have on the device or on Google. And then this one is going to go to confidential mode. You don't really need to worry about this. So you'll see that recipients won't have the option to forward, copy, print, or download the email. And then finally, this pen on the far right side is to insert a signature. So I don't currently have any set up, but you could come here to manage signatures, and that is one way to change them. And then over here on the far right, you'll see that there are more options. So you can default it to full screen so that whenever you go to compose a new email, it doesn't come up small on the bottom like this, but rather it just automatically will be full screen. And then here you can label different emails. So we will talk about that in the next video. but you can also print emails here as well. So that's great to know about, as well as checking your spelling. And then, of course, if you want to delete this draft, which I'm going to do, you can click on the garbage can right here. But first, what I'd like to show you is a great little trick. So I'm going to send this to someone. So I'm going to send it to my personal email address, and we'll just put in test for the subject line. So I'm going to click send, but maybe I didn't mean to send this already. So you'll see down here, you can click undo. That will unsend it. You have a very limited window. It is default to 5 seconds. So you only have 5 seconds after you've sent that email to take it back. I will show you all, though, how you can change that. So some basic navigation when you are on the Gmail screen. So at the top, you'll see that there is an empty box, which just means select. So if you select this one at the very top, it is going to select all of the emails in the inbox, but you can also from there unselect some. So if you click on it, you'll see that there's no longer a check mark. So that means that that one is not going to be touched. Now I'm going to unselect all of these again, so I'm going to click this box once more. And so if I wanted to select individual ones, you can do that as well here. So you'll see I'm only going to select these first 3. And up at the top, you'll have some options. So in this drop-down menu, you'll have the option to mark them all as read, as unread, star them, or unstar them. So to star them just means that you are indicating that that email is one that you would like to review again or have separate, so it's an important email, and it will show up both in this normal inbox as well as this one. So you'll see here I'm going to star this one, and it will show up at the top of this inbox and here as well. So once again, I'm going to click on just one of these to show you all. This button right here is going to archive that. So that is a great tool if it's something that you want to hold on to, but you don't necessarily want taking up space in your inbox. Here is how you can report an email as spam. So we've talked about that some as well. Here is where you can delete it. So if I was to click that, it would go into the trash can. Again, you can mark it as unread. Snooze it so that you're not seeing all of the emails that pop up from a thread. So if you're getting a ton of emails from one email that's gone back and forth, you can mute it here. So next we are going to be talking about Gmail labels, which can get a little bit confusing. So please be patient with yourself as you're learning about these. To add an email to a label, you're going to first select it and then come up here and you'll see this arrow looking button. If you hover over it, it says labels. I'm going to click that and you'll see that your existing labels will show up. So promotions through social are automatic Gmail labels that have already been created, but you can create a new one like I did here with the computer refresh label right here. So this would be a great thing to do for your committees. If I could spell committee, and then click create. So now you'll see that I've already added that committee label to it, but let's say that I want to add 2 labels. So it's both within a committee and a computer refresh, just for example. I'm going to click apply and you'll see that both of these labels show up. So we are still within our normal inbox. So this is the same screen that you would get from the very beginning when you access Gmail. But then if you come down to the left side, you'll see the committee folder as well as the computer refresh. That same email is going to show up in both of these now, in addition to your inbox. So to move it, so if you don't want it to stay in this inbox, you can select it and then come up to move to. So it's already in committee, but we're going to click that once more and you'll see that this is where it's going to live now. So that's not deleting it, it's just adding it to this spot only. Now, when we go back, if we click on it again, you'll see that you'll have all of these labels, but you can also manage your labels here. So you'll see that your starred is shown, but if you wanted to hide it, so you'll watch this right here. I'm going to click hide and it's no longer there. I'm going to click show and it will come back up. So let's say maybe you don't want snooze there. That's not really a feature that I ever use. So I'm going to go ahead and hide it. Now down here, you'll see if you scroll all of your categories as well. So if you have, so these again are going to be your categories that Gmail auto creates for you. So if you don't want them, then you can just have those hidden right here like they are. Or you'll see your labels. So you'll see that I have the committee label as well as the computer refresh label. You'll see how many different email threads are going on in there. And then your option to show it. So it's showing up here, to hide it, or to only show it if there is an unread email in there. Over on the far side, you'll see that you can remove the label. So I'm going to remove it here, or you can edit it. So change the name, but I'm going to click remove and that will delete that.